muscle-bound nerd. Huh, just more of you to pick on.
Excelsior! There was once a funny, chubby nerd named Kumail Nanjiani, until one day when the Marvel Cinematic Universe got a hold of him, and then he became a funny, buff nerd named Kumail Nanjiani. And the rest will most certainly be history. Obviously, this is not the first time that the Marvel Cinematic Universe took a schlubby actor and turned him into a superhero. Most notably, there was Chris Pratt in Guardians of the Galaxy and Paul Rudd in Ant-Man. Cliches of old seem to suggest that we should stay in our lane. If you're a nerd, you're a nerd. If you're overweight, you're overweight. But we can use Kumail as an example of how we can break free from our clique or stereotype if we so choose. Hello everyone, my name is Tom Lazoric, and in this episode of Fitness and Film, we are talking Kumail Nanjiani and superheroes. I've got my Marvel sweatshirt on, my Marvel hat, and my Marvel pants. So let's have some fun, huh? The man has been a hot topic over the last year or so, due in large part to his crazy body transformation.
Oh, yeah. Can you believe this turned into this? And it's just a picture of me from a year and a half ago.
A transformation he attributes in part to being offered a role as a superhero in the upcoming Marvel movie, The Eternals. And let's just get it out of the way up front. Yes, Kumail likely used some PEDs to help him achieve this transformation.
They both failed to mention how this actually works, which is steroids. Rachel?
But that should not necessarily take away from all the hard work and dedication that went into the training and dieting to achieve this transformation. But anyway, back to the Eternals. Definitely not the most well-known Marvel property, but I more than trust the MCU to give us something with a lot of substance. I mean, nobody knew who the Guardians of the Galaxy were before that movie came out.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know how this machine worked.
And good word of mouth caused that movie to make more money than the Justice League would end up making. And the Justice League is about the most famous superheroes of all time. Guardians of the Galaxy is about not the most famous superheroes of all time. So I would say that the Eternals are in good hands. I myself am a huge comic book nerd, but I was not familiar with the Eternals prior to the announcement of the film. And even still, I'm not very familiar. So we will go to IMDb real quick. According to IMDb, the film will be about the saga of the Eternals, a race of immortal beings who lived on Earth and shaped its history and civilizations. Fandom.com describes the Eternals as an evolutionary offshoot of humanity who possessed extraordinarily long lifespans and superhuman powers. Kumail is playing a character named Kingo Sunan. We'll just call him Kingo going forward because I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that one right at least. In the comics, Kingo is a Japanese samurai warrior type character who moonlights as a Japanese action movie star. Now clearly Kumail is not Japanese, so for the movie he's going to be a Bollywood film star, which was actually another one of Kumail's inspirations for his body transformation.
He's not just any superhero. His secret identity is that he's a Bollywood movie star. Those guys are super jacked.
So basically, Kumail is playing an ancient being who's lived on Earth for centuries and would eventually become fascinated by the idea of becoming a famous actor. That's pretty unique. This Eternal sports an array of powers like superhuman strength and flight, immortality, and he also appears to have a pretty cool sword. So yeah, there's that too. Kumail may have seemed like he wasn't perfect casting for the role, but again, like with Chris Pratt and Paul Rudd, there was a reason he was selected for the role, but he was still gonna have to whip himself into superhero shape. And whip himself, he certainly did. And the result is likely one of the craziest body transformations in all of Hollywood history, especially when you consider the time span that he managed to achieve this transformation in. The transformation can be attributed in part to working with Dave Bautista, professional wrestler and actor best known for his role as Drax the Destroyer in the Guardians of the Galaxy films, as well as the Marvel Cinematic Universe at large.
His people are completely literal. Metaphors are gonna go over his head.
Nothing goes over my head. My reflexes are too fast. I would catch it.
Kumail and Bautista co-starred together in the action comedy film Stuber, which is allegedly where Bautista began to give Kumail some of the resources he would need for his transformation.
It sort of got me started, so now I've started working out. I mean, look at him! Yeah. By the way, I'm wearing a shirt with his face on it.
Beyond Bautista, though, Kumail also worked with trainer Grant Roberts, a former Mr. Canada. But outside of the advice from Bautista as well as the training with Grant Roberts, Kumail really just seemed to be a very motivated person on his own. His turning over a new leaf in regards to his health really seemed to awaken something within him. He took it all very seriously, both his training and his diet. He seemingly became obsessed. for better and for worse. In certain interviews with Men's Health, he's been quoted as saying things like, "When I'm exercising, I'm not thinking about anything else." He's even compared it to meditation, and it's gone so far that apparently his friends even had to almost stage an intervention for him. That's pretty crazy. In terms of nutrition, Kumail did a lot with clean eating, like high protein, lots of veggies and things like that. Overall though, he really didn't seem to enjoy his meals very much, which is not an approach that I would recommend.
You work out every day and you sort of learn to enjoy it, but the diet is the hardest thing.
Like, his transformation was incredible, but I really hope he has longevity in this physique, because if you're not enjoying your diet, you're not going to really have a lot of longevity in your goals, at least from my point of view.
I sort of had to like trick my brain into liking all this stuff. None of this sounds fun. Nobody should live like this.
When picking a style of eating, make sure it's something you can stick to, but also make sure it's healthy. His diet was apparently so clean that his trainer actually had to kind of coerce him into adding a bit more carbs into like cheat meals and things. Kumail did a lot with low carb, hopefully not because he believes carbs make you fat, because that would be misinformation, a lot of nonsense, but carbs do make you hold a bit more water, so if he's trying to look as peeled as possible, it's definitely a strategy. But Kumail's approach to his workouts is a bit more my style, as he chose a lot of exercises that he actually enjoys. According to Men's Health, Kumail's favorite exercises include Zercher squats for the legs and core, low cable scoops for the chest, front, side, and bent over raises for the shoulders, crossbody, hammer, and regular curls for the biceps, dips for the triceps, and a cable row and a squat stance for the back. One of the strategies that Kumail's trainer Grant Roberts liked to incorporate into his training was electronic stimulation, which involves a machine that basically helps activate the muscles being trained a bit better. Not a luxury that everybody has access to, but pretty cool nevertheless. Anyway, it's very important to choose exercises that are both effective and enjoyable, because fitness should be fun. Challenging, but fun. Don't do any given exercise simply because you heard it's the best one, because there are always alternatives. For example, I hate back squats, so I will often sub hack squats for that movement. Kumail claims that he's actually been exercising for a long time, but he's never really, worked out. Not until recently. And he stated that this newfound love of fitness has kind of rejuvenated him in such a way, like he has more energy, he has less anxiety, he's less stressed, he sleeps better. Kumail is over 40 years old. It is never too late to find a love for fitness and to find a love for your health. And through it all, one of Kumail's biggest aspirations is to not really change who he is on the inside. Obviously, from a health standpoint, he's going to change all that. But him as a person. He's been quoted as saying, "If I can be a big buff person with the same outlook that I have now, that would be pretty cool. There aren't many people around like that." And that's a fantastic sentiment if I ever heard one. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing so I can make more videos like this as my channel grows. Assuming my channel does in fact grow. Also, follow me on Instagram at tom.lazoric. Let's be friends. Hopefully I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye. See, I'm a super nerd. I'm layering up the Marvel here.
The geek shall inherit the earth.